Alright. What's up, everybody, and welcome back. Harstem has a new video playing against the world champion Clem with Maphacks. We reviewed him against several the greatest of all time the other day, and I really enjoyed that video from Harstem. It was awesome. I pointed out a lot of things that he wasn't really using to maximize the effectiveness of him having full vision against a player who had limited information. Let's see if he does any better here against Clem.
Played with Maphacks against Cyril. I said the best player in StarCraft 2 versus me with Maphacks. Now, I'm making the exact same video, except there's a new king in town. So I'm going to be playing against Clem over here. I also have a new mod provided to me by printf for the Maphacks. It allows me depth vision. I can see invisible units. There's no production tab, but basically everything else I want in life.
So we're talking about that. Yeah, we're talking about which mod he used in the last one. And I was like, which one's he using? And we realized he definitely wasn't using the depth vision one in the last one. So I didn't realize depth vision will give you knowledge of where invisible units are, apparently, but you can't actually like attack up cliffs with it, whereas with the other one I think you can. So I believe he could have like attacked units on high ground and stuff with the last mod, but with this one he won't be able to do that. But arguably seeing invisible units more important. To be fair, in this matchup, what is there invisible? Banshees and ghosts, probably not as big as dealing with like burrowed infestors in late game PvZ.
Is indeed there. I'm obviously not going to be starting with a scout, as there's really no reason for me to do that. I have some, I planned out build orders very well this time. I'm not gonna get humiliated for a second time by one of these kids.
I told you guys,
age, twice my speed.
I told you guys he clearly wasn't prepared in the last one. I was like, he's just hopped in and just trying a challenge off the cuff and seeing what happens. Because like we're pointing out, like a few things he didn't do is he didn't deny scouting. Having a Void Ray or a Phoenix to deny scouting would have been massive. And he kind of just gave Cyril a bit too much room, and he didn't make anything, like he didn't make any plays that forced Cyril to respond. Whereas normally what you want to do is you want to do something like, oh, I'm committing to a big zealot timing. And then as you see them reacting to it, you just completely divert into a hard economy. So anytime that you're constantly threatening aggression and denying their vision and putting them in a corner, making them worried about things and reacting, but then pivoting away from what they think you're doing. So it's constantly showing one thing, going another way. And as you see them react to it, or if you see them not reacting, you just commit and go for it. And he didn't really do any of that, so Cyril got to just play a normal macro game. This time, we want to see him really throw the kitchen sink at Clem, and as he sees Clem scouting, recognizing what's happening and reacting, pivot.
So I want to figure out what they're doing. So far, it seems like a single gas opener. You have a barracks here being constructed. So I was thinking, what would Clem do? If I'm Clem, what would I do? I think if I'm Clem, I'm playing Reaper into Hellion. That's what I would do if I'm Clem, personally. I think it's a build that makes
Hellions give map control.
Honestly, a lot of sense.
Very fast.
Because you get scouting information, you can play fairly standard into a macro game. I think for Clem, it's going to be key to survive to the late game. Once you get to the late game, unit control becomes more important. That is one of the things that low-level players like me with Maphacks just can't really... You can't...
Low-level players like me. Hold on. Sorry, guys. I'm not letting you get away with that statement. Get out of here, low-level players. We're looking up Harstem's ranking. Oh, no, Eligulac's down. Oh, no. Does this say on the summary? It doesn't tell us... Oh, it is showing. It's working now. Sorry, guys. Bad players like Harstem currently rank 34 in the world, and I would say arguably he could be as high as rank 20 on a good day for sure. I mean, bad players like Harstem. Just remember, guys, if Harstem's bad, what the heck is anybody else on the ladder? I do not know what word there is to describe that.
Can't improve that by having more vision. It's going to be easier to maneuver your army, but the actual micro, the actual control stays the same. So once you get maxed out armies, I actually think it's always going to be very hard against these high level players. So it's going to be pretty key for him to get there. And a safe way to do that is obviously going to be through that Reaper Hellion opener. And indeed, we're seeing a Reaper single gas opener.
Sorry, random interjection. He hasn't told us what his builds are yet. I'm hoping for Blink Dark Templar. If you guys want, play the minigame with me, pause the video right now, make your prediction in the comments on what strategy or you want to see. I think he might play multiple games. I'm not sure if this is 1 or 2 games. Make your prediction on what you think would be the best strategy for him to do against Clem, and then you can edit it later or don't edit it to see if you're right.
So this is honestly pretty much how I'd expected it. Now, because I know exactly what's going on, I'm going to chrono boost my workers. So I'm going to be playing a very greedy Twilight opener. That's my general plan. It should be impossible for my opponent to do really anything aggressive. Like if I die to some 1-1-1 aggression, I'm going to be fairly disappointed with myself, okay? I'll just say it. Yeah, nice try.
Well, that's it. Information in early game is so big. So he can play like 2-gate Blink. Normally you play Robo for observers and you finally get vision at 5 minutes. He doesn't even need the Robo. He can just play 2-gate into a third Nexus. He can only make the Robo later because you just don't need those observers, which is going to give you a couple hundred more gas, save you minerals, get you an earlier third. Like he should be able to get far enough ahead the curve that the mid game and even securing a third base and defending it is a nightmare for Clem. That being said, knowing Harstem's style, he's gonna let Clem take a third. Harstem's more of a I'm maxed out, now I'm gonna go at you guys. So I think Harstem will probably be denying the 4th base of Clem while he himself is on 5 bases. I think he'll try to do like I'm 5 base, I'm gonna keep you on 3 bases, and that's how I'll win.
Be capable of getting a kill here. Never, not in a million years. I said not in a million years, Clem. Please.
Clem's so annoying with that micro with the Nexus.
We actually have a factory coming in, which I guess is kind of predictable. We have the double chronos here. We can skip a robotics facility. If he goes for invisible units, he's a certified moron, and I don't actually believe Clem to be a certified moron. So I don't think
Clem is a Terran player, so
really nice feature of all of this is that I can just kind of chase the Reaper all the way back home. So he's probably gonna try to.
yeah, you can chase it.
Come on, buddy.
This is good.
Let's
good
dance. Not quite. Hellion is out. Mine as a follow-up, which is actually not entirely what I had expected.
Not every day you get to bully Clem.
The opposite pretty much of what I had expected.
So you're going third Nexus before Pylon. Oh, that's sick. Yeah, because it makes sense. Because
you're trying to dodge and juke me.
Oh, that's so quick. That's so quick, guys. Yeah, you
take the Pylon right off spotters either. So it's mine, next thing already. You can actually just get a
the fact that he even gets the building pop-up.
He's so freaking fast. Now, of course, there's one difference between me and actual map hackers, is that with actual map hackers,
by the way, odd point, notice the units of Clem are black on the minimap. They're actually quite hard to see. So there is one problem with this. It is kind of hard to see these on the minimaps. This must just be a downside of the way Printf did the mod.
The opponent doesn't know that that person is map hacking. Here, Clem really is very well aware of the fact that I am map hacking. So it's going to move out on the map right now.
Yeah, knowledge is a big one. If people don't know you're hacking, it's obviously way more powerful because you can just catch them going for a sneaky drop and just kill it and win the game.
Terrible move here, Clem. Why would we be doing that? That's it. What did he think was going to happen, huh? So
going mine drop's kind of crazy, but he can still at least force
I'm really this slow in the head. He must think I'm this slow in the head, right? Otherwise, he wouldn't be doing that.
So this is the problem Harstem's making is he thinks this is costing Clem something. It's 1 Reaper, 1 Alley, and 1 or 2 Widow Mines and a Medevac. A normal Terran is mismacroing while this is happening. You got to remember that Clem is so fast. He is not missing any macro during this. This is his first mistake. He's about to lose a Hellion, right? It's like any other Terran, you're like, why are you trying so hard with this drop? But it's like, no, look, Harstem's floating money. Harstem needs to make sure he doesn't get supply blocked. He hits his build correctly. And he's actually probably getting slowed down more than Clem just by this interaction because Clem is so freakishly fast.
See what else he's doing. We're gonna get a robotics facility now. So after we basically got everything else that's important in life, let's send these 2 across. What are you doing at home? We see some Marines. We see some more stuff in production. I mean, I'm just gonna blink in at a moment where he doesn't expect it, obviously.
Yeah, I don't mind Harstem playing like this.
He's scouting to make sure I don't expect it. I think that's what he's doing. Like he's just poking with that thing. He's just freaking poking with that Medevac. I'm gonna keep an eye on that. Oh, get a kill over here. So he probably believes I'm too dumb to have units in multiple positions. Yeah. He definitely thought I was too dumb to have units in multiple positions. Absolutely exposed there, Mr. Clem. Dude.
Harstem proving that not all Protoss players F2 A move.
You can play freaking greedy against Terran if you know everything. Uh-oh.
Yeah, I mean, Harstem just touched on something really important, which is you get to be very greedy. And this is the thing, is PvT is often about Terran basically is just trying to surprise Protoss. The whole early game is I want to hit a timing, I want to catch you off guard, I want to surprise you. And for Protoss, it's can I figure out what you're doing and find just the right amount of greed and then just get enough units to defend your first attack and then kind of like hopefully I can kind of separate from the pack. If it's like a race, you can kind of just once you get out in front of them and then you just get a certain amount of distance and then bam, suddenly it's a much easier matchup. And this is why PvT, when like people complain about balance, like it's so unfair, look how bad these units are or whatever. And they don't realize that like based on how the early game goes, if it shifts like a little bit in one direction, it can run away very hard. And I know this is kind of a feature in all RTS, but especially in PvT, if the Protoss can figure out what's happening, then they can really, really shut down the first Terran attack and run away with the game.
Many units though, which does worry me. We're just going to keep this one over here. More of this stuff. It's going to the main base. So we have +1. Oh, that's a bad warp in.
+1's really nice here.
Yes, come here, buddy. Oh yeah, I forgot that I had this one that was going in. Pretty clean.
The pylons,
pretty
not
freaking
bad.
clean.
The Raven's right there. He could kill that Raven.
I think this is exactly what he should be doing, to be honest.
He doesn't see it on the minimap? Oh no, it's just a Marine there. Okay.
I do want to get a forward base at this point as well.
Yeah, early fourth is huge because this forces Clem to attack.
Area. I think I'm going to be slightly too late though. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be the case. Just going to get a cannon up here.
This is the balancing act of PvT, is you want to be greedy enough that the Terran feels like they have to attack you, and then you want to, once they attack, overcommit and you shut it down. Whereas if you look at like normally, you watch Beyond, you watch Clem, they're constantly threatening to attack and then pulling back and threatening and pulling back. And the Protoss is always like, is he, will he, won't he? Harstem has a lot more information. He knows exactly when the third base is down. He knows exactly how big the army is. Like, Clem needs to be very careful to macro really well behind this and avoid actually letting Harstem get a good fight until late game. Remember, the next 4 minutes is crucial. Harstem in the 7 to 11 minute window needs to actually get a good fight with this information because Clem will just get to a max out and out micro him with Bio Ghost Viking.
I don't know what his next plan is going to be. We're already going into Colossus. Is there a Viking? 2 mines. What, do you think I don't see that, buddy? This thing here. Next Colossus. Can we fight him out on the map? We most definitely can. Just gonna run into his third base as we speak.
Yeah,
he's definitely looking for something too here.
He can use force fields. He knows a lot of units are like dealing with the prism.
He's gonna get pushed back.
And normally, Terran is able to bully.
If it's actually good practice to play like this for him and for me, because obviously I'm giving him a way bigger run for his money than I ever would. I'm still gonna lose this thing though, which is not a great look. I'm not gonna lie about that.
Thought he missed the blink for a second there. I was like, no way.
Harstem. What is actually going on over here? Gonna need a new set of upgrades soon as well. Do I have enough gases still going? I think I do.
He's not gonna have the muscle memory for this sort of gameplay, so it's still a little awkward for him.
We can definitely start sending in some Zealot run-bys too, It's not all prisms that need to be doing the serious damage here.
Why is it that the army is a big ball of red, but these individual units were showing up as black on the minimap? Because that Raven, I'm pretty sure, just shows up as a black dot. But the army's a big red blob. You guys let me know in the comments if you guys know how this mod works. Maybe Printf's watching this and can respond.
We have 1/1 upgrades, which I think he has as well. He's just getting now his +1. How far away are we from just having a solid standard game? That's what I want to know. Because that's the exact location that I don't want to really find myself in, That is the exact spot I don't want to find myself in. So we're just going to get 2 more gates. I think I want a 5th base as well. Okay, and now we're just going to start moving out. Maybe we can have like a 2-2 timing or something like that.
Do you guys think Phoenix Colossus would actually be the better style? What do you guys think? I'm thinking Phoenix Colossus might actually be the better style to take advantage of this. Because you don't have to build the observers, and the Phoenix are faster, so you could be like going in and shutting down harassment, picking off units. That might actually be a smarter way of using this than Blink.
It'd be kind of epic. Man, if you have Maphacks, moving out is so much easier. It's actually crazy. It's actually crazy how much easier it is. I'm also kind of worried about how little damage I've done so far. It does not strike me as great.
It's 11 minutes. I like that he's going
frustrating
DTs.
that sometimes, you know, I can see already where he's coming, but I can't quite shoot him yet.
Yeah,
which
you
is
need the
actually
Colossus.
pissing me off a little bit. Let's see if we can go behind him here.
Takes a bit of mental adjustment, realizing that you guys can't attack on the high ground even though they can see it with this mod. And Widowmine does fire, but that's alright. The Zealots are going to be annoying.
There we go. Stop attacking me, you prick.
Stop attacking me, you prick. Yeah.
Okay,
This is how I
now
feel
here.
whenever I get to play Clem.
Do we want to wait until we have 2-2, or is that actually a mistake?
I've tried playing Protoss in a lot of tournaments, and I remember playing PvT against the top pros was so demoralizing. I was like, man, they just are so good at being all over you. You feel like you can't get on the map at all.
It's gonna move forward right now.
This looks pretty bad for Harstem, guys.
Look how
Lost all the sentry
annoying he is with
energy.
this constant harassment, absolute prick. I wonder if I can just send a bunch of units in somewhere and then kind of take it from there. He doesn't actually have such a huge army. I think the 2-2 upgrades are going to be a game changer.
Oh,
Game
is that
changer-like
2-2?
moment, at least.
I thought that was only 2-1.
Gonna get DT Blink already. So the moment he's ever slightly out of
Oh,
position,
this is good.
we're just gonna jump in like a prick. Now.
Yeah, that's a good YOLO. Yeah, normally you can't risk that.
Oh, it's the first disruptor shot I ever hit against Clem in my life. Not bad at all. Oh, you want to fight? I don't think you want to, bud. I don't actually think you want to.
Oh my gosh. Oh, dude. Yeah,
God, I'm
Harstem's
so much better than my opponent and macro. And
he's so confident. Oh my gosh. Should he be there?
a monster at the control. I wonder if he wants to play another one after this. Clem is not the type of guy that likes losing. Especially not loot. It's been a while since I've... Oh, look at that. That's a neat little, what you call it? An F2 move back home.
Come on,
He's
that
not
was
the type of
a
guy that
big
likes losing to
series.
players worse than him.
These two played a big series where Harstem lost 1-3 in the regionals last year or earlier this year. And it was actually a very close series. Even the games Clem won were like nail biters. It was actually a really sick series. Gave me mad respect for Harstem's PBT.
Most people could do, especially if they have Maphacks. Well, also not most people. Some people at a high level could do. But winning the game... Uh-oh, no. See, we're actually messing this up massively.
Harstem got cocky.
I think I messed this up actually enough right now.
Does he have enough? He's gone so heavy on the Blink Stalkers.
It's hard to say. We still have 3-3 coming in soon. This was a very mediocre fight, though. I'll give you guys that. He hasn't been on my side of the map a single time, by the way, which is hilarious to me. Yeah, let's see who's paying attention.
And there aren't that many Maphacks.
And
the Disruptors.
There we go, buddy. Yeah, it's very frustrating if I can always see the army coming.
Because you could set them up so much easier because you know where the army is.
3-3 upgrades. I mean, the real banger here is going to be just adding in some more gates and stuff like that. What is that?
Dude, I wonder how Storm Drop Charge plays with this.
A prism? I couldn't even remember doing that. I thought I already had started my... So I was getting too cocky again. You hear, oh, I wonder if he wants to play a second game against me, guys, because I'm owning him so hard. No.
Self-awareness is key.
Oh, my dear friends. It be like that sometimes, you know?
He's got a probe in his army.
Maybe I can get something here. I think he'll have to run in.
Oh my gosh, Clem ran in and focused that.
That wasn't a great run in for him because he had to walk right into a lot of my units. And we have 3 upgrades right now, which is actually kind of significant. I want more robotic.
If Clem doesn't have 2-2 yet, then that's crazy. I don't think he's really clicked on Clem's units, but if Clem's on 1-1, it's crazy. Oh no, he can see Clem's on 2-2. Clem's +3 armor was upgrading on that eBay. I mean, at least the units slowly stim themselves down every time they're dodging disruptors like that. Throws one more disruptor out. I think it might have hit a marauder or two. Big zealot warp in could be really nice. And Harstem's going to just keep fighting like this. Yeah, this is a good zealot warp in.
Doesn't actually feel so freaking great for me, you know what I mean?
No, this
Why
is game
doesn't
over.
this feel so freaking great to me? It's because
Harstem's army is a bit poopy, but this is actually a game. Because Clem can't keep up with the front now as well.
Don't have so many disruptors available currently.
Harstem can get like 2 or 3 more gates.
Does he already have the super thing or no?
Blink DT would have been amazing, like I said, this whole game. Oh, he's got it.
Only makes sense.
I feel like opening Blink DT would rock.
Yeah, I appreciate what I did, but it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I just have 2 little disruptors this entire time. That's a
Yeah, where's
an
the
absolute
third
fact of life. We
Robo-Burr?
have a lot of freaking workers though, so
He
you
has
can make
3.
some serious mistakes and still be somewhat okay. Okay, we now have 4 of these. His army isn't that big. His army is freaking tiny, actually.
Harstem's really good at this mass stalker style, actually.
Where's your main army at?
Just pure
That is
stalker
his army,
disruptor.
Ooh, I knew he was there. It's really easy to send these disruptors into the correct spot if you can see literally every single thing that he's sending in as well.
He just got another triple marauder.
You can blink in. Probably do want to clear whatever is over here.
Hot take, guys. Clem should play siege
crap,
tanks.
fell off already, yeah.
I think playing Widow Mines is really stupid.
Okay, so we managed to get a clear over there.
Right, so get this. This is a sick command center snipe. Harstem's got this game in the bag. Clem's kind of screwed. He's flailing right now. If you think about it, the Widow Mines are just getting picked off for free. They're very rarely landing their shots, and they're only doing it when Harstem screws up. Tanks, on the other hand, actually outrange the Protoss army. Now, I think you can always make it work with Bio Ghost Mine, normally, because you can avoid the frontal fight. You can split up and you can control the map, deny observers, counter drop, counter attack, always threaten the big surround if the Protoss ever pokes too far forward. You don't have any of that now because Harstem, if you split your army on 2 sides and start flanking, he's just going to jump on one side of your army and kill it. So I think Clem, if he plays against Harstem again after this game, he needs to change his style up and consider either tanks or earlier like range libs or something like that. Maybe not range libs, because I do feel Harstem's mass blink style is actually quite good at just like blinking, killing 3 libs and moving in and zoning out the marauders with disruptors. But yeah, it's tough. I mean, this might just be a matchup that's just grossly Protoss favored with Maphacks anyway, which, I mean, it makes sense that someone with a vision advantage is favored, but it just feels like Clem needs to find a way to like somehow make the game scrappy enough into a multitasking war.
Oh, God.
Or play the siege tanks and slow it down and just, you know, have them in the right position at all times.
Maphacks have it so easy. I would have been the world champion if I just used Maphack at every tournament.
Yeah.
I
agree.
Took the attempt here. You think he saw me blink forward? I think he might have.
If I were him, I'd be sending a few more random disruptors off to the sides.
Oh, that's too much. Yeah, I was gonna say. Actually, too much.
The Liberator Harass, usually good for distracting, but Harstem sees it coming, so you should be able to blink and shut that down, but he didn't blink.
He always pays attention, you know what I mean? That's one of the more frustrating things with being alive. It's people that always freaking pay attention.
Those libs are going to siege his base in a sec. Yep. Oh, he's going to send units in the top as well, Dark Templar. His libs are being a nuisance. Nice harass.
Way too many workers too, by the way.
But yeah, the DTs are so good. And once you get to like 5th base, it's so hard for Terran to defend 5th and 6th bases, even on this map, which is a good turtle map.
Oh.
Back on gas. Yeah.
Actually attack this base. How many DTs do we have right now? 2
Yeah, he's going to rotate. DTs will go to the bottom base. Army goes to the top.
Some more DTs. Send one in over here. That seems good.
Nice.
Okay, this is another great thing about life, is that I can just move in whenever I like to.
Yeah, you just know where he is at all times. This is so silly.
Okay, we're now gonna move back home. Did lose some units.
Oh, he's jumping on your army, bro.
I think I'm gonna get surrounded here, don't I?
That's all right. You can just blink on him.
I don't have any disruptor shots remaining. Now I get a new one. I think he's gonna...
This DT is going to be huge.
Oh my god.
Clem chasing him down. I think it's time to recall that top army, guys.
Please tell me I can clear this.
It's time to get out of here, Harstem. Run!
This guy is a little bit cracked, I'm not gonna lie. Oh yeah, I'm never gonna get that.
Run! Save your army, Harstem.
Okay,
save what you can.
I wanna run away.
He might get like one disruptor out. The DTs are ripping Clem apart.
Gotta run away.
You're tearing me apart, Lisa. Yeah, right now Harstem is Tommy Wiseauing the heck out of this game.
Does seem fairly unlikely. I have a lot of cash in the bank though, which is nice.
Just keep chronoing those disruptors and just keep them alive. Don't let him break you.
To deal with my opponent. I feel like it's much easier to control harassment if you see all the threats coming as well.
Yeah. Sounds obvious, but like it's... Harstem's saying it because you really feel it.
For these bad boys. I think eventually I'm gonna win.
Clem's desperate.
Oh, come on, really?
Clem's so desperate right now, guys.
Alright. We got it. This is a crazy game. He fought a little bit worse than me in the end, but overall his fights were extremely impressive. Like the fact that I was up 2 upgrades the entire time. I think that's the difference between TVP and PvZ, is that with instant information, I can actually get a big lead. Versus Serral, I didn't get such a big lead at all in the early game.
Yeah, more than ever, he needed to make Serral afraid somehow, and he just failed to do that, whereas Terran kind of has to respect what you're doing a little bit more, and you're able to push your greed just further.
So I didn't actually have, you know, the same level. I think if we get into an even late game, I still just lose, just because of how the fights are going. I think he's, yeah. I actually do believe that.
I think the Widow Mines were a waste. Other than that,
I feel like he should be capable of beating me. I had a lot of bases right now already, though. I don't know what this is. Cloaked Imitators. Exciting. I'm very happy with this victory.
The reason why, though, I think Harstem feels like Clem should be able to beat him here, even though Harstem has more money, is because we're so used to the Terran coming from 2 sides. 4 of your disruptors die before any shots get off, and your army just gets sandwiched and you get wrecked. Or the Liberators come in and distract you for a moment, and he stims on top and kills 6 disruptors. And that just should never happen with Maphacks, right? Should never happen.
All right, Clem wants to play another game, but he didn't want to play another game with Terran. He also didn't want to play another game without the Maphacks. So we're playing a PvZ. His work is pretty freaking good already, where he's the one map hacking. So I'm going to be on the receiving end here. I'm sure he's going to have a brilliant time. We were just
Oh, this is awesome. Oh, I had no idea they did this in this video. This is so funny. Clem's off race is meant to be one of the best. He's been wanting to play Raynor in a kind of all race show match for a long time, and Raynor keeps dodging. So apparently he's got like incredibly high level Protoss. I imagine his Zerg would be his lowest. I feel like Terran and Protoss, the skills transfer a little bit smoother. Zerg, it's not hard to learn if you put the time into really studying it and figuring it out, because it plays so different to the other races. It feels like you do need to put in that time and love. I have no idea if Clem's done that.
Discussing in between the game, like what we both thought of it, and I mentioned that I think the difference between Protoss versus Zerg and Protoss versus Terran is very big, because I'm just up like the full 2 upgrades the entire time. It feels like there's very little that he can do about it. You know, like harassing is practically impossible. I was thinking maybe he could play like a double gas opener, but I think I would just have the perfect response every time as well. Maybe he can create a little bit more chaos, but if I just have perfect vision, like harassment of the Terran is really dependent on the fact that there's multiple avenues of entering, you know? This is...
Yeah, like, and we've been saying it's an information battle, PvT, so I think what Harstem's hinting at is like double gas, maybe not necessarily double gas, but something different that forces a heftier response, right? And this is where I think theory-wise, just theory, I don't have specific examples, but just, and you always go back to the basic fundamental theory. This is how you solve problems in StarCraft. We would say, well, you need to create a situation where your opponent doesn't know the optimized response. How do you do that? You do something, you basically get a Gumiho build, you know, where he's like, I'm building 2 Marauders and a Cyclone, but I'm not really pressuring that hard because I'm only on 1 gas. So my command center is actually quite fast behind it, but it still forces you to like start building batteries and stalkers and stuff. And then, you know, like you kind of have these layered transitions behind things, and the Terran can squeeze in like a little bit of greed as well. I think the Terran needs to be a little greedy at some points and basically say, look, if the Protoss is like perfect at hitting this counter timing, sure. But because we're going to keep them busy with things that we're fainting with, and then bam, we're being just a little bit greedy, hoping the Protoss doesn't find that counter window, I think you could do it as Terran, but it is what it is.
This is why sometimes in the PvT matchup, bigger surprises happen as well, because people can just gamble very hard in one direction or the other. That can be with unit positioning or with build orders, or sometimes with both. And if that's the case, a much worse player can just get in a really good position, like I just did against Clem. Everything I did in that game could have been done through, at least in the first 5-6 minutes, could have theoretically been done through just kind of gambling. Like the unit movement.
It's just because Terran has less information. People always will comment on this who maybe haven't played as much stuff. They go, well, Terran has scan. It's the best scouting in the game. The thing is, it costs you a lot of money. You lose 225 minerals that you could have mined from a mule every time you drop a scan, and you can only drop it in that one area, right? It won't necessarily see everything. So, whereas with Zerg, you've kind of got overlords on the edges peeking in, checking your gases, sitting on the pillar outside your base. You've got these 25 mineral Zerglings poking in, seeing things. So Zerg has a lot of vision. Protoss have adepts in the early game, and then oracles very soon after. So they also can tend to see everything that's going on. So there's just less secrets in PvZ, and as a result, it's harder to shock people and surprise them. That's why the build orders don't matter as much. That's why there aren't as many upsets. It's just people at the very top are so good with those scouting tools. That doesn't apply to average Joe play. Even at my level, build orders still matter a lot in PvZ because we're not that good at scouting as regular GMs that aren't actively like competing at the top pro players, right? So for us, like we always get surprised by a guy who just goes for a Void Ray and then hits you with a Charge Zealot all in and you die because you're just a little bit too greedy, you know?
I think it's a little bit out there against the Reaper and against the Hellion, but against the Mind Drop Maphacks, I've seen Tosses just walk all their Stalkers on the map, trying to clear that thing as fast as they can. So it's not completely unrealistic. Either way, we're now in a PvZ, and I'm going to be on the receiving end. I actually have the perfect build order for this, I think.
He did a late scout.
The funny thing is that I think if you're a less experienced player, map hacking can actually be quite bad for you. Because imagine if you're like a gold player. This is why I often tell lower level players that for them scouting is not so important. Because if they see something, they don't actually know how to use that information. Like they'll see like 2 barracks and they're like, oh no, 2 barracks, that probably means he's rushing me. I've heard of 2 racks before. And then in reality, it's just a 2-on-1 opener, you know? So they're...
Yeah. What Harstem's getting at here is like you want to start with basic map vision is actually your first scout. And people always ask like, oh, I'm really bad at scouting. I'm in Gold League, you know, with his example. And they'll always ask me like, oh, you know, what does it mean when I see a Cybercore and then a Stargate and a Robo in PvZ? And I'm like, I don't know. It could mean anything. Like, doesn't matter. Like, they're like, what? And I'm like, at your level, get map control, get map vision. If you're, you know, try to leave like Marines out on the map to see when attacks move out. Try to work a scout at the start just to see, are they proxying? Are there buildings in their base? Cool. All normal. Oh, there's no buildings in their base. Okay, he's proxying me. I need to actually... I'm getting rushed really hard. If they have no buildings in their base 2 minutes into the game, you know, you should have a set sort of anti-cheese plan, an anti-proxy plan where you're like chronoing out units and making a shield battery or whatever the response is for your race, right? So it's just really basic. It's basically check for the most all-in proxy builds at the very start and then try to see when attacks move out, as well as like when they expand, right? It's like, are you taking an expansion? Are you taking a third base? You know, just having a few units or workers scattered around to see these things, that's the beginning of scouting. It's just getting a feel for, oh, my opponent's on 3 bases. Obviously, that's way more economic than a guy who's on 1 base at 5 minutes. You start worrying and going, oh, he's still on 1 base. We better build more army and scout more to see what the hell he's doing on 1 base at this point in the game.
Cutting drones way too early, or they're building 5 batteries against something that is completely standard. So very often at lower levels, I think that just kind of sticking to your guns and not having full information is better. I think it's the same with lower level players that map hack. Yes, their movement is probably going to be very good, and I don't think they're going to die a whole lot against invisible units, but it's not going to be brilliant. Like their counters are just garbage. And I even saw that with some of the map hackers that were like low or mid Grandmasters. Like their responses were so terrible.
They're so dumb.
That it's just hard to imagine.
Yeah, sometimes I'm watching them and I'm like, it takes me so long to realize they're hacking because their responses are so stupid. Like you're actually like, oh, you really didn't get here with a solid understanding of the game or a well-rounded skill set, did you? You know, like they're so tunnel vision-y and everything they do is just like, it's always trying to be a, I gotcha, you know, I caught you out of position. So the moment you realize they're cheating, they're so easy to beat.
You know? It's hard to imagine that they get... Yeah, I mean, they get obviously some type of advantage from it, but they could be getting so much more if they actually had any clue about the game. They might be distracting themselves and doing bad responses. And I have a build that is going to do just that against Clem. If you're not super familiar in the PvZ matchup, this build could actually mess with you a little bit because it's not so all-in. It has a very fast third base, which makes it...
I would guess carriers into Blink. Don't know why. That's just what I'm guessing.
Few a lot less all in as well. This is
yeah,
terrible,
third gas.
but whatever.
Do we see a fourth gas
you
as
still
well?
need to respect the follow-up. So just gonna get a little pylon over here. Just gonna play single oracle. That's what I'm feeling.
Classics build
Single
from
oracle,
last year's
really
game is
fast
8.
third base, single gate. Then we're gonna follow this up with an insanely fast Twilight Council and pretty quick blink. Actually, one of the fastest blinks possible. So this is a 3.
Okay, probably like a 5 gate, 6 gate, just a very early blink pressure after maybe just one oracle. He'll probably make a second, but he'll delay the second oracle. He might not even make it. So he's basically just going to say, look, I've been very greedy, and then I pivoted off the normal heavy adept oracle pressure straight into like just I'm in your face with blink stalkers, and finding the exact balance against this, because it's not like I'm making 66 probes and then wandering across with a few stalkers. It's going to be a sharp stalker timing, and against the sharp blink stalker timing, if you don't have the right number of units to first shut down the attack, the stalkers are just going to pick off roaches and lings for free and keep blinking back. And as the fight goes on, you look at the units lost tab and it's like 0 stalkers have died. They're all just a little damaged, and like 10 roaches and 50 zerglings have died. And the zerg just is losing thousands and thousands of resources. And the Protoss is like adding a fourth and probing up behind it. So I think that's what Harstem's looking for in this game.
40 Twilight Council. This is banging. We can smell that this is banging, absolutely.
I was completely wrong about the carriers.
Whenever I ask these high-level players to do something with me, you know, I always try to make sure that they invest as little time as possible. You know, so they doesn't feel to them like they're wasting a bunch of time. And one of the things that I really like about Clem is that he seems just as excited as I am for a lot of these things. You know, if I challenge him for something dumb, like we'll play one game, and I'll be like, all right, thank you so much. He's like, okay, I want a rematch, or I want another go. Which I think is
Clem is 100% like this. He'll play any other game. Did you know how shocked I was when I saw him at the Battle Aces? For those that don't know, Battle Aces was a new RTS that's coming out. They flew some of us over to their office to try the game out so they could do some like early testing essentially and get feedback on the game. And I was like, what the hell is Clem doing here? I was like, he's like actively competing in tournaments right now. He's like, yeah, I wanted to come see what the game's about. Like, we had no idea what the game even was. We had no information at all. I'm like, God, yeah, okay, sure. You know, it's the same reason why like Clem's playing Stormgate tournaments. He plays all these other games. He's just like, he just likes playing games, and he's just honestly happy to be involved in anything. And I think he just enjoys the variety and the challenges. I think that's really good, because I think it always gives you a fresh perspective. Whereas if you play just the same game and the same race over and over, sometimes players get really stuck in bad habits. Like, I remember when Scarlett played a ton of StarCraft Remastered when it came out, came back to StarCraft 2, hadn't practiced at all, and she was like destroying a bunch of tournaments. She just had this like new way of looking at the game. So I actually really love the way Clem has that kind of wide-ranging gaming attitude.
He's just really cool. He's a genuinely cool person. But yeah, I don't think I'm gonna get a whole lot of damage done here with my Oracle. I'm already not the greatest Oracle harasser in general.
Did you make a second?
Only
one Oracle.
Wow. He is gonna know where I'm coming. Wow.
This is so optimized because he's only on 3 gases, guys. So he literally can't like afford an extra Oracle, because that 150 gas would be like, oh, you actually can't support 4-gate Stalker production even.
Crazy movement, guys. Is Clem the next best Zerg in the world? Hate to see it. Hate to see it. Let's chrono this a couple more times. Actually could have chronoed some of my workers too. Been a little bit sloppy with that here in this game. Wow.
Dude, Maphacks.
So such a prey.
It's almost like this guy's
Very
hacking.
Fun though. Very fun. I love it.
Crazy.
Like in particular, like no, yeah, I'm not sure why I even attempted that. I think in particular, like Ling run bys are gonna be quite powerful, because you know exactly when I'm moving out, and someone with his speed is going to be capable of controlling all that. I also really noticed that last game is that run bys are so powerful, and you can really see the opportunities when you have the full vision. Like you can really smell
move out
those
time.
opportunities. Am I supply block here? That's also an opportunity for me to just start moving out, I guess. Absolute opportunity over here.
No forward warp in point.
Just get gases behind this. We're gonna go with 10 stalkers. I mean, there's a serious pressure, don't get me wrong, but
it's a very fast 10 stalkers. Pre 6 minutes.
If I hadn't gotten that, need little supply block. Need little supply block. So he's getting a roach warren. We're just gonna push in and hopefully do a little bit of damage.
Then there's the Oracle. Oracle's too far forward.
Desperately need this high ground vision as well.
Yeah, high ground vision
I
is
love
really
that I'm
good.
blocking him too. I think it's a good move.
He hasn't lost a single stalker yet, guys. Yeah, just back off and let your shields regen. There's no reason for him to keep fighting there. Like, it's like you just killed 20 Zerglings for free. And then you get the fourth. This is what I was talking about.
See if we can actually move towards.
So even though Clem's like defended this, Clem kind of needs to keep making units for a bit. And Clem might only be on 55 drones, depending on how well he macroed. Whereas Harstem's about to be up at like, he's at 63 right now. Maybe he'll probably be at 66 soon as he saturates these last gases and gets towards the fourth. So as long as those stalkers once again do another fight like that, Clem's stuck in this spot where it's a very fine balancing act that Harstem's forcing him to do. He needs to build just enough units to like shut down the next stalker pressure pretty hard and then go hard into droning. If he falls into the trap of not building enough army, it's actually worse. It's better for him to overbuild army, shut this down, and then full drone his fourth base at once. If he makes the mistake of being too greedy that a lot of inexperienced macro Zergs will do here, then Harstem's just going to keep grinding value with these stalkers.
His fourth right now, or if that's going to be Mission Impossible, as the French would call it. Oh, I actually can wall this area already.
Oh,
yeah.
It's a lot of Zerglings. So this is the right defense for Clem.
A little bit.
The Oracle's there, though. He'll lose 3 Stalkers.
I should have figured that out a little bit faster. That's embarrassing.
Oracle's not on top of it. This is embarrassing? It's not embarrassing. Clem just played correctly. He's playing really good.
I mean, we're going to lose a lot of Stalkers here.
I think if he wasn't hacking, maybe not.
This one for a little bit longer. We have a lot of kills as well on our dudes, though. So it's not all bad, but I actually really wonder what his worker count is right now.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try figuring that out.
If Clem was on 50 or 55 drones this whole time, it's like it's okay. You obviously, if you blink back and snap recall the stalkers or something like that, it'd be a different story. This is just a reminder of the fact that when you do these openings, I think it might actually be worth building the second Oracle after your first 10 stalkers move across the map. Yeah, you want to go Forge and Robo, but if you can squeeze in that extra Oracle, I think that's a game changer, right? Because if you've got 2 Oracles there with the lasers on, that's way more costly for Clem.
I'm gonna try figuring it out. We'll get Storm here. Then we'll
Clem hasn't tried to do any Ling run buys or anything, but I guess Harstem's been pretty solid at home.
See what he's all up to, huh? Prick. Okay, so just now he's getting extra gases. He's pretty low on the workers. I want to see if he's teching that into Hive.
Yeah, he's hitting med.
I think that's a recent tech into Hive.
Yeah. So the reason he thinks that's a recent tech in a Hive is because he saw the gases haven't been taken and the minerals weren't full. If that mineral line was overflowing with drones, you could tell. But if you look at it, and I'll show you again just really quickly, we can rewind.
Okay, so just now he's...
Notice how there's only 1 worker on this patch, 1 worker on this patch, 1 worker on this patch. And yeah, there's a new worker that's just arrived. Looks like these bunch of workers probably just rallied, hit this mineral patch, and now they're spreading across the base.
Low on the workers.
But even then, it's maybe 10 workers on minerals. So if you've got 66 across the other 3 bases, which is assuming you've taken every gas, which we don't know is the case, and you've just added 10 there, you're at most at 76 drones right now, and you've just hit that number, right? Which means you were probably down in maybe 60 drones for, most of this period where they've been fighting.
Let's see if he's teching that into Hive. Okay, I think that's a recent tech into Hive.
And it's a recent tech into Hive because you're not usually going to be teching into Hive before you even build any drones for your 4th base. That's just kind of a crazy thing to do because you're going to get to Hive and you're not going to have any money to actually make lurkers with.
So it's hard for me to exactly judge what our position is.
You have to pressure.
Like.
As Harstem, you have to pressure.
But
you can't not against a map hacker.
But
if you sit at home, you're screwed.
In an okay-ish spot. So one thing that scares me here is the possibility of him just finding my units out on the map.
Yeah, if he surrounds you.
One thing that is pretty cool though. Oh, let's see what he has. Is he getting Ravager upgrades? I think he's playing Ravager Ling Bane, which is not. Is this my
Ravager Ling Bane sucks.
No, it's my +2 actually. Am I not?
It's not a bad style, but Golden Ore is a good map for Protoss. So if there's one good thing, like because he can wall off this bottom side.
Yeah, just proper Ravager Ling Bane, which is not so popular because it sucks.
Oh, Harstem agrees it sucks. I mean, it's pretty good defensively, but it falls off a cliff.
I'm still kind of expecting him to go for like a base trade at some point.
A base trade, yeah. I mean, I was thinking normally with this style, it's like Baneling's rolling into your worker lines, but Harstem's really well defended and walled off. I feel like some Baneling drops would actually be really nice. It's like something, maybe even just a mass Ling drop into the main base. Like, I think Clem needs something to like open up the angles. Otherwise, what's his Hive for? A lot of the time, it's just Viper's adrenal glands and stuff, but there's Storm and High Templar out. So I feel like Broodlords is probably the best Hive tech. Can't really go Ultras against this style because he's already got an Immortal or two, and that count's going to grow quickly. I think you have to go Broodlords eventually, or just create a scrappy enough series of engagements or surround Harstem's army.
Well set up over here, though. There's no way he can fight this. There's just no way. Come here, buddy. Oh, he actually wants to go for my prism.
It's interesting we've seen Hydraling Bane come back in the meta in a big way, whereas it was all Ravageling Bane for a long time. Alright. Harstem's got the Zealot counterattack up top. He's got to know that Zealot counterattack's going to get cleaned up. Got a Zealot drop here as well, though. Makes it hard to deal with. Oh. Queens are there.
This feels okay for me, huh?
Yeah, this feels good. Because the Zealots are splitting up Clem's army, and that's going to allow Harstem to push in with his main army. And it's going to be really hard to like have the Lings and the Banes in the right positions. Like, how do you set up a surround on this army while also dealing with Zealots attacking from all sides?
How was he? Every single time I try to get out here, something else bad
Zealots
happens.
are doing good. Gets a Queen.
Just going to get some of these. I want to get a 5th base, too.
4 base Protoss is very scary for Ravageling Bane to play against.
Ooh.
He's playing Ultras.
I do dig that, huh?
Oh, he's going to try and focus the Cavern down. I mean,
So
second Robo. Yeah.
These things then. Oh crap! I wasn't paying attention.
Oh,
that's nothing but
Harstem.
just my bad mechanics, I guess.
Should have clicked that army
I don't wanna lose
away.
this game.
Hot tip, guys. Whenever you get really busy in a game, like if we watch that last little
I'm
sequence,
gonna get some of these. I want to get a.
if you're ever really suddenly busy macroing 5th base and microing a drop and this, especially against hacks, grab this army, click it back over here. He left it sitting in no man's land, and oh man, this cost
5th
him.
base too. Ooh,
Watch the mini
I
map.
do dig that, huh?
To be fair, Clem's units, he couldn't. Yeah,
So we want another
Harstem's
one
now-
of these things then.
Harstem's conditioned to
crap,
play
I
with
wasn't paying
hacks
attention.
himself after the last game, and now he's
that's
like, oh
nothing
crap,
but just my bad mechanics, I guess.
I don't get to see your army come through.
No, I don't want to lose this game.
Yeah, this is so bad, man. It was so good, and now it's so bad.
That really sucked, actually. I was so busy trying to counter and doing things that I forgot to pay attention to my main army.
Yeah.
Noise attempt.
Clem also
Noise
forgot
attempt there,
Baneling
buddy.
speed, guys.
Do dig that. Let's see if
10
we can
minutes
just
with no
send
Bane
a
speed.
Fat run by a round. So he's
If Hars-
getting immortals, or at least
If Harstem checks this replay, I'm pretty sure he's going to find that Clem was on like 50 drones for that whole early Stalker pressure period. It feels like Clem just doesn't have quite as much stuff as he should have, and he's kind of stuck in his defensive side of the map. There's no link counters or anything like that, and that's really lacking.
yeah. I don't think I'm gonna let you pull me in all the way.
He should build just like one Corruptor to kill the Warp Prism. This Warp Prism is causing way too much damage.
It's gonna go to the bottom side here.
Terran players are notoriously stubborn though
Here,
for
you're
not
gonna
dealing
go
with
here.
Warp Prisms.
I mean, theoretically, we don't have such a bad setup, do we?
Like Clem had a lot of troubles back on the 2000 Atmospheres map pool with Warp Prisms, and he would never build a Viking for the longest time. Eventually, him and the other Terran players caved, and they're like, okay, we'll build one Viking. Like, this Warp Prism is actually ruining us as players. We should probably build a Viking. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a single Corruptor come out, even though the Spire did get sniped.
Warp in over here. See what he has in this area. Do I have an observer with this? Yeah, I do. That's actually kind of neat. Observers are very powerful.
Yeah,
Oh,
Cle-
it's
if Clem
completely
could
irritating,
pull
yeah.
Harstem's attention around with some counterattacks, he could surround the army. But you can just tell from the early pressure, Harstem's done a good job of dictating the pace and not really giving Clem the freedom to just macro. And like, look at this, he's kind of toying with him a little bit. He gets Clem to pull those units away and then immediately goes back in, unloads, and warps back into the same base. Like that's
I
a
think he's
that's a
just dead
really
now, though.
cocky almost
I don't
move,
quite
right?
understand how he's gonna plan on winning this game.
Yeah. Yeah, but there's no Broodlord tech, like I said. So Ravageling Bane, you can't let Protoss have a 4th base. This is a really bad map to play Ravageling Bane on.
Usually considered to be a mistake.
Dude, Storms are sick.
Okay, getting more units.
I think
I
Clem
really
played a
wonder
really
what
good
he's
standard game.
rebuilding on.
It's just standard isn't good
Maybe he
enough
has
for
a base
Golden
out there
Aura
as well.
against Harstem, who's playing such a good pressure build.
Good splits, Kevin. They call me the Clem of Protoss. Although Clem is also better at Protoss than I am, so that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. There is a Clem of Protoss, it's just the actual Clem.
Harstem's referencing the fact that Clem's Protoss is actually higher level than Harstem on the ladder. Clem's Protoss is insanely good.
Which is sad to think about. Okay, I can definitely hit this one more time. Yep.
It's not sad, Harstem. Remember, Raynor beat multiple pros and almost beat Dark in a grand finals of a $15,000 big online tournament against Dark. You almost beat Dark with your Protoss. Like, Raynor and Clem are just a different breed. There is no shame being worse than these guys off races.
Me, baby, one more time. Oh, baby, baby, how was I supposed to know?
That's a big ball of Immortal Archon, guys.
Wasn't right, girl. Oh, baby, baby. Woo-hoo.
Did he just start singing Britney?
Let you go. Yeah, Mapack. Powerful, but not powerful enough, my dear Clem. It's so weird. It feels odd, no? It feels so freaking odd, to be honest. Like I think if you practice more with it, you're gonna get better very quickly because it feels like you're looking too much. Well, a lot of information can just be minimap, but it's so exciting to see everything. So you're just like looking at, oh, this is really good. But yeah, I think it's mainly the case for higher level players. All right, I think that's actually gonna be it. Huge shout out to Cirque is so stressful. I barely had time to look at your stuff. Huge shout out to Clem for making time. He's a very busy guy. Interviews with big TV stations, news channels.
Yeah, and doing all that sort of stuff. Dude, Harstem, this was a lot of fun. It's good to see. Harstem came in way more mentally prepared in this one. And we also got to see the power of like him using those hacks against Terran, a race that has less natural vision than Zerg, and how it's even more of a superpower in that scenario where Terrans drops and their fast little harassment moves weren't really able to get the big reactions. Stalkers were intercepting mine drops all over the place. So once again, guys, go check out Harstem's video. There's a link down below in the description. Watch the whole thing over there if you haven't already. And thank you, Harstem, for doing some creative challenges here in the StarCraft scene. See you guys next time. Goodbye and good night.